Hi everyone, my name's Hidanik. I'm an avid music game streamer who really just loves nothing more than sharing my favorite passion and hobby with the rest of the world. I've been playing competitive arcade music games for the last 10 years, and during this time I've traveled the world in search of every arcade music game there is out there. During this time I came across my now favorite arcade music game, a game that I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to share with you today called Synchronica. Synchronica is a touchscreen music game developed by Bandai Namco and released in 2015 for Japanese arcades only. It functioned as a live service game, receiving online updates and allowing players to save their scores and profile information to the cloud with Bandai Namco's Banapass system. In September of 2019, the game was taken offline with an end-of-service patch. This patch removed all network and saving functionality, but allowed the game to still exist in arcades even to this day. Synchronica has always been an exceedingly rare game. Even the most seasoned music game veterans really aren't very familiar with it, just because of the game's lack of popularity. In Japan, there are less than 75 arcades that carry Synchronica, and that number drops every day. In fact, in the entire prefecture of Tokyo, there are 2 arcades where you can play Synchronica at the moment. Outside of Japan, there have been less than 10 cabinets in existence. And learning of this in a fit of passion, willpower, and unrealized financial stupidity, I took it upon myself to purchase and import one of these cabinets. And I am proud to call myself the sole owner of Synchronica in the entire northeast of the United States. Synchronica is a very special game in that it's designed to be a cooperative touchscreen game. It's best enjoyed with 2 people, though you can get the full experience by yourself. To that note, I'm really excited to have the opportunity to partner with Ikigai Arcade and transport my Synchronica to AGDQ this year for an appearance at the Free Play Arcade. I'm ecstatic to have the opportunity to share this game with other people, and I hope it can bring them the joy that it's brought me. Today I'm going to be showcasing the more difficult versions of charts for this game, as well as going over the unique components and mechanics to Synchronica that no other game has really captured in the same regard. Synchronica is a deceptively difficult game with tight timing windows and very flowy, intricate patterns that are oftentimes really difficult to follow. Before I jump too deep into the difficult portions of Synchronica, I'm going to begin with a pseudo-tutorial, one that can kind of guide what's going on the screen before we jump into something where my hands just look like a blur and all the notes just seem to be disappearing. So without further ado, I'm going to push the chair back, turn the camera a little bit to get a better view of the screen, and we'll begin. Alrighty. Let's make sure that it's coming through. Now, because this game is offline, there's going to be some setup that I have to do for every single credit, even on a free play mode. The game doesn't know that I'm not the last person who played, or that I am the last person who played, so it just assumes, okay, we'll reset all the settings each time. It only takes a few seconds, but if I seem to be speeding through a singular menu before my first song every single time, that's exactly why. This menu here asks if you're going to play the tutorial mode or if you're going to play the standard advanced play. And we're going to do the advanced play. The tutorial is a bit lengthy and it locks you out of other songs and modes for the rest of the credit. And just for time purposes, it's easier for me to explain how the mechanics of the game work in demonstrating one of the flagship songs of the game. This song, Synchronicity, is the flagship song of Synchronica. It was designed for the release of Synchronica. I'm going to adjust a couple of the gameplay mechanics here, and I'm going to explain it now so that every time I do it afterwards it makes sense as to why. You can change the design of the notes in the game. In fact, you can make it look like Santa Claus, Valentine's Day bunnies, or even a fish. Truthfully, all of these markers make the game incredibly hard to follow. The marker that I use is called a clear beat, and what it does is it shows a delineation for the rhythm of the note. If you look very closely, you can see a horizontal line going through the note, which differs from this one here. What this means for one horizontal line is that it's going to be on the upbeat, or the 8th note of the song. There are other markers that show even tighter delineations, like 4 notches for a 16th note or 3 for a triplet. I'm also going to up the timing speed a little bit to make it easier for me to read. We're going to start with the normal 5. The advanced and the technical will be very difficult to follow without a clear indication as to what's happening.
Ready?
The first type of note are blue notes. You simply tap them as the ball reaches the center of the circle. As you hit notes, your clear rate in the top left will increase. The next notes are green notes. They're swipes. As they come up, simply drag your hand across them and follow the arc. When you reach the end of a song, you'll have cleared it if your clear rate is at least 70. Red notes tap at the beginning and release as the circle fills up. For yellow notes, tap at the beginning, follow the trail, and release the note at the end of the trail when the light reaches the end. You might notice that the background seems to be changing based off of the notes that I hit, and you'd be absolutely correct. If you see these circles that are coming out every time I tap a note, those are unique to only this difficulty because that's where the notes are placed. And in fact, if you don't hit those notes, those effects don't appear. Now there's some special tech with yellow notes. You actually don't have to follow the path if you don't really want to. As long as you release the note at the end with the right timing, you still get full credit for it. Synchronica grades you using 10 points for a perfect, 8 for a great, and 4 for a good. If you have at least 70% and therefore clear the song at the end of your song, you receive 2 bonuses based off of your best combo as a percentage of the maximum combo, and your release bonus, which happens every time you let go of a red and yellow note. Each of these are individually worth up to 10% bonus score, meaning that the maximum possible score in Synchronica is 120%. A AAA starts at 115%, a AA at 110, and an A, which the game used to give achievements for and is therefore kind of the special clear for the song, starts at 100%. Now that we've seen what a basic song looks like, we're going to jump into a much harder difficulty. We're going to go to the technical version of these charts. The next song that I'd like to demonstrate is called Jellyfish, which does a really good job of showing the visual effects that are dynamic based off of the gameplay. I'm also going to jump up the speed just a little bit because it makes technical charts a little bit easier for me to read, and dim the background so that it's not as distracting to me but still very visible to the viewer. Synchronica is very unique in the playfield. In fact, it's not just one video layer, there are 3. There's a background video layer that's always present, what you're seeing right now. Secondly, every time you hit a note, notes have a little splash or particle effect that comes out of them. That is an essential from the background, because if you were to miss one of these notes, you wouldn't see that effect. Finally, you have the gameplay layer, where all the notes and the UI appear. You might notice that I'm not tapping every single blue note that's coming at me, and that's intentional. Synchronica only requires that your finger be in the right spot for blue notes when the circle hits the center. This means that you actually don't have to pick up your hand ever to play Synchronica. You can just drag your hand across as long as your finger touches the center of the circle. And no, this is not unintended technique. The game actually teaches you later that you should be doing this. Of course, the trade-off to doing this is that your timing can suffer if you go too fast or too slow. The other kind of unintuitive tech of this game is that hold notes actually don't have to be held their entire duration. You can let go of them without penalty, as long as you pick them up somewhat quickly. Now, if you let go of them too close to the end, you won't get the release bonus, but it is just a bonus. For example, if I let go of these too early, it doesn't say bonus. And it's not that the game's going to combo break or make it so that I don't get like a miss, for example. But what it does do is it means that if I clear the song, out of that release bonus percentage at the end, I just won't get full credit for it. Now, because we got 91.7% clear rate, we're guaranteed to get the release bonus and combo bonus towards our score. Kind of just guesstimating based off of the combo bar, we got about 75% of the combo and 78% of the release bonus. Combined together, that leads to 7.5 and 7.8 bonus, adding together for 15.3% bonus. When you add that to our original clear rate, that's how you get your final score, which your grade is based off of. During the game, Synchronica will take screenshots of various layers. Sometimes it's just the background layer like this, or it'll show you everything, including the player's UI. Synchronica chooses what to screenshot based off of what it considers to be significant moments. If you hit a lot of notes really quickly in a row with a perfect, the game may take a screenshot of that. Or if you get a miss, the game may screenshot where you pressed and exactly what you did wrong. For the final song of this credit, I'm going to play this 16. This song is called Amefuri no Rondo, or if you were to translate the title, The Rain Falling Rondo. Every song in this game has a dynamic background that is attuned specifically to the song, and all of the particles are made specifically for the song. You'll notice that in the last song there are a lot of jellyfish-looking particles, and in this one, they'll look like teardrops instead.
Ready?
Doubling back on the comment about yellow notes, you'll notice during this song that I don't follow many of the curves of yellow notes, instead choosing just to skip right to the end and releasing at the right time. The final mechanic that sort of separates Synchronica from other music games is that for flick notes, you don't actually need to flick it in the direction to prevent breaking a combo. You won't get a perfect for it, but as long as you touch the note, even if you flick in the wrong direction, you'll still get a good for it. I'll demonstrate on this next pair of notes. You'll notice that I got a gray good instead of a red or yellow good. The gray goods are only applicable to flick notes, and it's when you hit them in the wrong direction. If you missed it the first time, I'll do it again here. What's really cool about this game is that it doesn't leave you guessing as to what you did wrong or what you missed. In the post-game screenshots, it will show you exactly where your fingers were and where they should have been. If I can find one that shows a miss, here's a good one. This shows here that I touched the right spot, but I was too slow, and that's why the game registered a miss for me. In a different moment, for example here, it'll show that I hit this note with the grate correctly. However, the note to the left just didn't register my input, and therefore, because I didn't touch there, I got a miss and a slow. At the end of your credit, Synchronica shows you a list of what it calls crowns. These were collectible achievements that you could get once, and they would often accompany what Synchronica called words. Words were little pieces that you could add to your profile, this little message in the bottom right corner that would accompany your player name. It's just a way to enhance customization, and you could feature specific crowns that you earned on your profile. You also received what's called motifs. Motifs are pieces that you can combine together to make a unique profile picture. In the offline version of this game, the game randomly generates one by just piecing motifs together every time you start a new credit. In fact, the motif, or the profile picture that you had seen before, is going to differ from the one in this credit here. Synchronica boasts a very beautiful, slower, aesthetically pleasing range of songs. Very few songs in Synchronica push the 200 BPM barrier, and in modern day music games, that's kind of against the norm. Most songs are really, really quick, but if I were to choose a random original song, for example this one, this song maxes out at 121 BPM. Or a different one, for example this one. I think this song is actually the fastest song in the game at 200 BPM. This song will be the next song in the showcase, but before we get into it, I'm going to change the timing and my marker again, because it reset at the end of my last credit. Synchronica handles slowdowns and speedups like most music games, where it changes the speed of the notes based off of the current tempo. Synchronica is deceptively difficult. In fact, the area that you can hit notes is a lot smaller than it seems. Hitting the edge of the inside of one of the circles is often not close enough to be considered good enough for an input. One of the notes that I can show that I did this on was right at the beginning, and I bet the game took a screenshot of it. As you can see here, this flick, it shows the red circle of where I touched, and I was just too fast and a little off-center for it to count. Other notes, you have to make sure that you move a little bit around on just to make sure that you're in the center. This little teal line here indicates that I kind of shifted my finger just to make sure that the whole note was indeed counting. And because we got at least 100%, we get an A, which normally would have unlocked a crown and motif for our profile. Now, getting 70% on most songs in Synchronica is difficult, but far from impossible. And so, to make the game a bit more difficult, the game introduced a life bar called Stoic. If we open the options menu here, we get additional options that we can modify our game with. The top three affect gameplay. The first one is Mirror. What this does is just mirror image the chart. It doesn't make the UI look different like Groove Coaster does. It just moves any notes on the right to the left and any on the left to the right. The second option is called Hard Judge. What this actually does is it changes goods to misses, so you can no longer get a good. It was used more for competitive play in tournaments, but in all honesty doesn't really affect your gameplay too much if you're getting near perfects on songs. The final option which we'll be turning on is called Stoic. Every time you get a miss with Stoic turned on, there will be a life gauge in the center that loses a segment. If you lose all segments during a song, your song instantly ends. The segments of life will slowly recover as you keep a combo, but if you ever lose all 5 segments, your song does not continue to the end. Even if you're above 70%, the game will consider you have failed the song.
Ready?
If I miss a note, you'll hear that kind of sad sound. There will be a different sound as my life bar builds back up. That kind of, I'll call it a glowing sound, means that my life bar has completely refilled. On a little side note, having Stoic on kind of exposes it to both yourself and viewers whenever you miss a note, so the pressure's a little bit on now. Stoic also adds in special effects as you become close to failing. I'm going to try to do this without forcing my life too low. Let's see, there we go. If you're 2 misses off of failing, the borders will start to glow yellow. And if you're 1 miss off, they'll start glowing red. Beating a song on Stoic mode doesn't give you any special messages, and it doesn't give you any special unlocks. However, the first time you do it, you'll get a special crown for doing so. Sometimes the crowns are a little cryptic in their title, and they don't exactly tell you what you did. But if you go over to the crowns, and you tap on any of them, they'll tell you exactly what you did. This first one means that you played with stoic mode for the first time, and this one down here just indicates that you've cleared the technical of this particular song, Luminous Flight, with at least an A. Every single song had a unique crown for its advanced and technical charts. Getting at least an A would earn you these crowns. Finally, if you full comboed the normal, advanced, and technical for any song, that would be an additional crown. And all of those crowns would give you words to add to your profile, as well as parts for new motifs. Stoic mode adds a bit of, I don't want to say stress, but additional difficulty to the game. It was really designed for a different mode, which we'll be demonstrating next credit. But for the purposes of, say, level 18s and above, it can make it very difficult to clear certain songs. We're going to leave it on for this song, as difficult as it is. But if the border starts glowing yellow or red, it's showing how close I am to either clearing or failing. This is one of Synchronica's flagship songs as well, Synchronica Airlines.
Ready?
Now, as much as I wish I could say it does, hitting the bonuses does not refill your life bar any faster. So, if you're in a hard spot for life, it's usually better just to hold the holds extra. Even though you won't get the full credit for the bonus, it's better than getting a miss. Now, you might have wondered during this gameplay how I know if I'm fast or slow other than just hearing it from the hit sounds. And the game actually does tell you if you're fast or slow on a great or a good. It's just a bit hard to see, but it's hinted with the fast and slow. If the outline of the word great or good is yellow, it means that you were early. And if it was red, it means that you were late. It's a bit difficult to see, but even in these screenshots, let's see if we can find one that has a great. You can see a little bit of a red outline around that word great, and that just means that I was a little slow. Let's see if there's a more clear picture around here. Nope, seems like that's the only one for this gameplay. So it's a little faded, but you can see the word great with a little red outline there. While we reset, I'll give a little personal anecdote. Synchronica Airlines is the song that actually got me to pursue Synchronica a bit more. It was one of the final songs that I played while the game was going with its offline patch, and I made a farewell post to Twitter regarding the song. As it turns out, the Japanese Synchronica community had found a few farewell posts, mine included, and mine being, I think, probably the only one in English. One of the members of the community actually translated my post from English to Japanese for everyone else to read. And because of that moment, I have now met with, I believe, near 10 members of the Japanese Synchronica community just because of that moment. The song holds a very near and dear place to my heart, and I can't imagine what direction my life would have gone differently if I hadn't played that song before. You may have noticed that certain songs in this game have these little red boxes next to them. Very few of them, some of them have these clovers, but you can see them here, here, and here, and they're only on the technical versions. If I switch to the advanced, they disappear. Songs with these red boxes, called Pandora's Box, have a special difference to them. If you tap the technical difficulty 10 times, a fourth hidden difficulty appears, called Pandora. Now, Pandoras are special because not only are they harder than the normal charts, with one very specific exception, they require you to play with Stoic Bar on. It's impossible to turn Stoic off. Now, there is a way to guarantee that you don't fail out. You can turn on this mode called Safety. And basically, if you ever miss a note while Safety's on, it just doesn't remove any life from your life bar. However, turning on Safety disables multiplayer, and it would disable your crowns and scores that you would achieve during the play. So for the sake of keeping the gameplay intact, we'll turn it off. I'm also going to quickly adjust my settings before the song starts. And we'll jump into the Pandora difficulty with Stoic on and Safety off. Normally during gameplay, these charts were locked behind these teardrops. The game calls it shizuku. You would earn those over time by just playing a lot on the game, but it would take a while to earn even one. Earning a teardrop would add it to a bank, and every time you attempted a Pandora without clearing it, it would take one teardrop from your bank. In a sense, Pandora charts were a do-or-die mechanic in Synchronica. One of the problems with that is that these charts are incredibly difficult and often feature mechanics and patterns that you wouldn't find in many technical charts. And the endings of these charts are usually very challenging for that reason. Normally, letting go of a hold is semi-inconsequential because the worst that it will do is just break your combo, which only affects the combo bonus that you get when you clear a song. But in Pandora charts, letting go of a hold too long will also count against your life bar. Normally, if you reached this point of the song with any life still in your bar on a Pandora difficulty, the game would give you a special little notification after showing you the result screen. It would say unlocked, and the Pandora difficulty would indeed be unlocked. All that this really does is make it so that if you want to play the Pandora difficulty again, it would not cost you a teardrop. You also get special crowns for clearing a Pandora on your first try. Or sorry, the first time that you clear a Pandora difficulty.
There are special crowns for full comboing Pandora charts, but because these charts are at the very, very end of the game, they are considered gold crowns, the hardest type of crown to get. Synchronica featured a rating system as well, which would normally appear next to just above your name. It would give you a number of stars based off of your overall performance in the game. Synchronica was very completionist heavy. In fact, if you wanted the maximum rating, the formula, which was announced on their official website, was that you had to, at minimum, AAA and full combo every song on normal and advanced. And for the technical, you would have to get a perfect 120% score. Pandora's would also give you an additional bonus, so if you wanted the maximum rating, you had to perfect those as well. For the number of songs in this game, it meant that very few people got close to the max rating. I think for the rating system, it went up to 7 stars, and less than a couple dozen people were ever 7-star in this game. It was dynamic too. It wasn't based off of static thresholds. The stars were based off of the number of songs in the game and the maximum possible rating you could get with them. We're going to keep the Pandora train going for this credit and play another boss song in the game called Genesis Ray. Now, for the sake of this showcase, because it's not cooperative, I'm going to turn on safety for this particular mode. Pandoras are much easier to clear when you're playing with someone else because you gain the ability to press a button called Sync Burst. And Sync Burst prevents your life from falling for any particular part of the song. Assuming you're with a player who is equal skill level and you're only missing particular parts of the song, having Sync Burst was usually enough to make it so that you can unlock songs.
Ready?
But by myself, I'm going to play this with safety instead, which gives me the same effect. In this sense, Synchronica really was meant to be played cooperatively, and it was a little bit easier if you had someone to play it with. As you approach Pandora charts, you'll notice that a lot of songs require you to either switch hands or cross your hands like this. Synchronica charts aren't inherently sight read friendly, but it's usually possible to see what you were supposed to do. The upper difficulties of Synchronica get incredibly intense. In fact, we didn't need safety for this particular run. We missed 4 notes, so even if those 4 notes had happened all at once, which in fact they did happen near the end, it wouldn't have failed us because you get 5 segments of life bar. This wouldn't have unlocked the song, however, because safety was used. The game is smart enough to know that if you had cleared without safety, there is a marker that would normally show up saying, hey, you would have failed because, or sorry, your score doesn't count because you had safety on. But if you would have cleared it anyway with safety on, the game removes that marker and says, well, you would have done it anyway. You just had it on and used a teardrop for nothing. Because using safety adds adds a cost of 1 teardrop to your bank every time you use it. Now that we've seen what a level 18 Pandora chart looks like, let's show a 19 Pandora. The other follow-up boss song to the game called God Ray. So, I'd like to keep in mind that Synchronica's playlist is relatively small, and it's very easy to practice, generally, a smaller subset of songs. Genesis Ray I have full comboed before, I have cleared many times. God Ray is a 19, and I've practiced this song for months on end, and I have yet to come close to a clear. A non-safety clear. I would say that getting 70% on 19s is an achievement in and of itself, but to be able to Pandora clear this was pretty much reserved for the top-ranked players ever for this game.
Ready?
So, I guess this is a good time to talk about just how intense Synchronica's scoring system is. Many music games today have some of the baseline scores be very close to an A, where an A is achieved without the highest level of play.
New record.
In Synchronica, getting an A was considered quite the achievement, to the point where that's why they gave you the motifs for it. Getting a C and a B was considered average. It wasn't a terrible score, but it wasn't enough for what Synchronica considered for completionist levels. Getting a C or a B on a level 19 is a feat of within itself, which may raise the question, well, if few people were ever able to clear this, how did everyone do it without running out of teardrops? One of the cool things about Synchronica is that you can play different difficulties with people at the same time. So if you had a partner playing a lower difficulty, because you share the same life bar, if your partner can full combo the song, it doesn't matter if you even hit a single note, because your partner will carry you through to the clear. And in order to unlock the song, therefore, you would just need to hit the 70% threshold. This was usually done for players who weren't within the top 20 in the world at the game, because the songs were really just that difficult.
Synchronica.
Now, at this point, I feel like it's a good time to demonstrate what cooperative gameplay would actually look like. So, on the left cabinet here, I'm going to link our two machines together.
Welcome.
Normally, you would play this with two people, and trying to do this by myself is very silly. The game never expects you to do this. There was nothing you ever got for doing this. Plus, you could never log into both sides of the game at the same time. but we're going to set ourselves to multi here. What was really cool about this game is that you could actually join in progress. If I chose multi and enabled a setting later, I could tell people, hey, yes, I do want to play with other people. And actually, we're going to use that method before we get into the game. I'm going to reset the cabinets real quick just to demonstrate how that works. I'm going to push them into test mode, push them back out. This is kind of the safety feature I can use for a showcase, because if the game ever gets to a point where it needs testing or it's desynced, or let's say that a song really just went away from the showcase, like for example, I forgot to set my settings for a song. It's a simple flick up and down and the game just immediately resets. And it's ready for multiplayer as well. So on the right side, we're gonna go into single player first. That left an awkward amount of silence. We're gonna go into single player and then choose the standard play mode. Once we're here, we're gonna go to the left and we're gonna go to this other button above custom that we haven't used yet. What this button does is allows players to join you while you're playing. So first thing you do is say, yes, anyone can play with me. The right button was for friends, and if you had friends on your online profile, they would be the ones that could join you. Now, on the left side of the cabinet, it's a bit hard to see, but there is a arc that's appearing right here that says, hey, someone's looking for you. And or rather, someone's saying that anyone who's willing to play with them is welcome to join. You can also add a message here indicating what you're doing. For example, you're waiting for friends, or you're working on clearing an event. Or, for example, just want to play with someone else. We're going to choose, and truthfully the message doesn't matter, it was really more for other people to see, but yeah, I guess the camera's not picking up. Can I lift the camera a little bit so that this is visible? Ooh, there we go. Whoop. There's a little, oh, did I pull the camera out? Yes, I did. There we go. So, over here you can see, come on. There we go. You can see a little arc over here that says that anyone's welcome to join. Now this is going to possibly disappear if I was too slow here because of the camera disconnecting. Let's see. Was that too slow? Oh. Okay, no, I caught it just in time. Because I was able to hit the multiplayer button in time, now the game registers on my side that someone is appeared to play. So we hit OK, and the game kind of does a pseudo reset. Because I hadn't started a song yet, it puts me back into the top level menu for the timer, and we begin playing together. In Synchronica, you can actually choose songs turn by turn. So on the left side right now, I couldn't select a song to play even if I wanted to. It's only on the right side. There's a button up here that allows you to switch the song selection over to your partner. So if they had a song that they wanted to play, or you just didn't feel like choosing a song, you could do that. So I'm going to switch this back to this side just because it's a little easier to see. And we'll demonstrate a cooperative song played by one person on both cabinets, which I don't think I have known of anyone else who's stupid enough to try this. But I love doing silly things, so we are going to do exactly that. I'm going to set the settings so that they align identically. Say 1.3 speed. And we are going to begin this song. Now, when you're playing with other people, you get this option to do what's called a multi-mission, which should be showing up right now. There we go. Your multi-mission is based off of your combined combo together, which can slowly decrease if your life bar in the center, which works exactly like Stoic life bar, loses all of its segments. Because it's based off of our combined combo, we're going to leave it at 200. At the end of the song, you also get a bonus based off of how many notes you hit perfectly in sync with each other. So because we have 80, 80, and a potential 100% sync, the maximum score that we could get for the multi-mission is 260. You may have noticed that where my score was before is now replaced by a button that says Sync First. What this does is it prevents the life bar from disappearing, and for every note that I hit, it adds 1 to the multi-combo. You can also hit it with 2 people for a double burst, and this adds 2 instead of 1. And this way, you can actually increase the total number of multi-combo mission score that you get.
Multi-combo.
If both players full combo the song, you get a new message called Full Multi-Combo.
Mission
There are
complete.
3 different result messages that you can get that are unavailable in single play mode. If both players keep the combo without ever dropping, so both players may miss or only one player can miss, the life bar will lose a segment, but your combo will never go down. As long as the life bar has at least 1 segment at all times, your combo will, as this graph shows, just keep going up.
New record.
If that's the case, your result at the end of the song is called an unbroken combo. If both players full combo, which at the end of this result screen, you can see that it does it show it here? I can see it in the multi here. Down here, it shows both players with a full combo flag. That's a full multi-combo. And if both players perfect the song, achieving the rank resonated, then the result becomes known as Synchronica, with a new message flashed across the screen. This is one of my incentive donations to have a Synchronica rush, to be able to do this solo. And I do have a recording of this being done, but it would be an incentive donation to add to this stream. Now, the reason why multiplayer is important is because, as I was mentioning with Pandora charts, if you have someone else who's playing a skill level roughly around you, they can play an easier version, say the Advanced, and unlock a harder difficulty for the other player by just carrying the life bar, while the other player just has to earn their percentage. It also can help you on, even just by yourself, to save the combo break system, because certain songs have special effects when you full combo, or in a multiplayer game, get at minimum an unbroken combo. I can demonstrate this with a J-pop song, MSS Phoenix. We're going to pass the song back over here. I'm going to adjust my timing for technical charts. And we're going to play this, but only on this one side. Now, because I'm playing by myself, our sync rate is going to be 0, so I can't really choose a multi-mission really much higher than 428. Because I'll be using the sync first, it'll add a little bit to it, so 450 is the best we can do. 600 is going to be impossible.
Ready?
That little, kind of bit crush sound that you're hearing in the background is where your partner misses a note. Now, because there's only one segment filled up in the life bar, which is mine, the game flashes warning in the middle of the screen. This means that if I were to miss a note, our combo would slowly start to drop. It doesn't immediately reset to 0. Instead, the number just slowly starts to fall. And as you pick your life bar back up, the warning message disappears. In fact, if you had no segments of the life bar remaining, instead of saying warning, it would say dropping. If you're the player who doesn't have their side of the life bar filled up, instead of it being a yellow warning, it'll say a red warning.
Same word. Double word.
Certain songs have special effects when you get at minimum, like I was mentioning, an unbroken combo or a full combo, and this is one of them.
Rocking combo.
You can identify these songs in the song wheel because they have a little marker next to them, and in that way you can find out songs like, hey, if I do something special here, I'll get a special cutscene at the end of it.
New record.
Now, you'll notice in this graph, instead of the line being white, now it's yellow for most of it.
New record.
The game color codes the line based off of whether your life bar was in a stable spot, dropping, or in a warning state. If it was in a warning state, the game shows a yellow line if you're the one who remained with a life bar segment. So for example, if we look at a screenshot, you can see that my life bar is flashing red. That means that my side is filled up, but my partner's isn't. And that will show a yellow graph here. If it were the reverse, it would show a red line. A white line indicates that you had at least one bar filled or that you were safe from your combo dropping. And a gray line going downwards would indicate that your combo was dropping because no segments of the life bar were filled. Certain songs have really cool endings. In fact, there's an original song for the game called Mina no Uta, this one right here. Before the game went offline, the game received a special update when the end of service announcement was first made. I believe it was in June of 2019. And during that time, a update called the Joke Crystal Update was added. By completing a series of unlock systems at the end of every credit, which were only accessible online, you could unlock Mina no Uta Inotaku version. This is the same song, except it's sung by Taku Inoue. Every difficulty of this, including the Pandora, has a special cutscene if you get an unbroken full combo at minimum in multiplayer, or if you full combo it by yourself. The Advanced and Technical and Pandora have a very similar cutscene, but it is slightly different between them. The Pandora for this is a level 41 chart. It was not designed to be played by one person, and is in fact a pair chart. That means that if you were to play this Pandora solo, you would need 4 people, 2 on each side to play it. And at the end of this showcase, I can show an autoplay demonstrating what that actually would look like. We're going to go for the technical cutscene at the end, and for that, we could probably aim for a multi-mission of 800. Now, it's not the end of the world if we don't get it. We've already demonstrated that there's special songs with cutscenes, and if players are going to try this at the free play arcade, I want them to be able to find it for themselves as well. But it would be really cool to demonstrate this one.
Ready?
dropping a little bit. So you can see the number is slowly dropping in the background, but it isn't immediately resetting to 0. And as I fill my life bar back up, it enters the warning state instead of the dropping state. If you're ever dropping and you really just want to get your combo back instantly, hitting the sync burst makes it so that you get a little bit of a burst towards your multi-combo, as well as saving your life bar from dropping, even if it's currently empty. I'm going to hit it on the other side. Darn, we didn't hit the 800, but that's okay. Playing by yourself, it makes it very difficult to ever get the multi-combos. I think this in of itself is what makes Synchronica that much more fun as a cooperative game, and while you still get the gameplay and core mechanics by yourself, there's parts of the co-op game that are just so special and, I don't know, affect the game in such a positive way to me that it just makes me want to share this game with more people. You can see now that we have a couple sections of dropping here, that the line is colored slightly different when your combo is going down. That's why it's gray here. It also shows indications of where screenshots happen. For example, if I tap here, it'll light up a different part of the bar indicating where in the song it was. This is a visual log, but you can see during the song where these screenshots were taken, and this is only visible on the multi-graph. The game will also put a line where the multi-mission that you chose to take would have been. And you can see the little gap between where we are and where it actually would have been for a multi-mission clear. One little note about the sync burst. If you align your sync bursts and do them while one is, like if you do your sync burst while your partner's is active, it activates a double burst, which you would have heard during the first song. Your double burst adds 2 to your sync instead of 1 and is worth a lot more, but it lasts for the entire duration of the second person's sync burst. Even if the first person's sync burst is about to end and the second person activates a sync burst, they get the full double burst duration. So the ideal way to use your sync burst is for one person to use it and then the second person to use it right before the first person's ends. This adds just another level of complexity to the game to try to maximize the amount of score you can get. And in fact, it's impossible to get multi-mission 9, the highest multi-mission, without using this mechanic. Now, we're coming up on the end of the showcase, so I'd like to demonstrate one final credit of my favorite songs in the game, the songs that mean the most to me, as well as the farewell song to the game that really just evokes so much emotion, and I'll talk about more like a huge nerd when the time comes. We're going to choose the solo advanced mode, and we're going to get into the 3 iconic songs that I personally love the most. This song is Yuyake Made Ato Sanbyo. Sanbyo? Yes, Sanbiel. I forgot the word for second for a second. Translates to 3 seconds until dawn. We're going to leave the settings as they are in place and play this without Stoic or any of the special effects.
Ready?
The song has a very beautiful background and provides an unmatched aesthetic. Now, the game never actually makes you let go of hold notes if you don't want to. If you can stretch your hand or find different ways to get the inputs in, you don't have to let go of holds in the middle like I could have done there. But it often makes it easier. For me, I tend to miss the swipes if I don't try to hit it with just one hand, so that's why I did it in that way. Excuse me.
New record.
Now, I've mentioned this before, but I really want to emphasize just how difficult the game Synchronica is. Between the tight judgment window in terms of timing and frame for actually tapping the notes, getting a full combo is incredibly difficult in this game. In fact, getting the highest grade resonated is really only reserved for the highest level of players. The crown was gold and only achieved by a small number of people, even on the easiest difficulties. I'm going to jump to my next favorite song in the game, ever. This song is very special because it was used at a meetup for Synchronica members for the game's 4th anniversary. On a personal anecdotal level, my cabinet is decorated with some of the materials that were used for this meetup. And I have to thank the Synchronica Japanese community for allowing me to have these on my cabinet. This song actually does have a little glitch in its background. You might have noticed that the screen went black for a second there. That's actually part of the background video. As far as I know, it's the only song that has that in the video, but there could be others. If you've ever talked with me personally over Discord chats, or if you've ever seen my streams, you'll know that I obsess over Ever. And most of it's just because this song has been my connection to the Japanese Synchronica community. Without finding this song as well as Synchronica Airlines, it's unlikely the connection I have with the community would be as strong as it is right now. For the final song of this showcase, I'm going to play the remix of the flagship song for the game. Synchronicity Resonate remix was made by Mifume as a tribute song to the game going offline. This song also received a Pandora chart. Remember how I mentioned that Pandora charts were harder than their technicals? But there was one exception. This song is the exception. Going into the chart, you can see that it would be a Pandora 39. That seems a lot higher than 16, but it uses a Japanese trick with numbers with different pronunciation. Instead of it being 39, it's Sankyu, or thank you. It's a thank you for playing chart that contains a presentation of Synchronica. For this particular song, we're going to add in our left partner again on an empty playfield. The game is once again going to refresh because we had a partner join us. I'm going to select the song one last time. Oops. This warning pops up when someone is playing Pandora and another person is not. Because we're using Stoic mode, if the life bar ever runs out, it will fail both players. That's okay. We're going to say yes, that's fine. This chart is truthfully rated closer to 11 or 12, possibly 13. But in the background, you'll see a presentation of the history of Synchronica. These notes here are spelling Synchronica. The presentation begins with just a list of all the song jackets in the game, or many of them. Every time you hit a note, a random song jacket is displayed on the screen. And now we jump into the history of the game. Released in June of 2015, where you had the first demonstration of the Synchronica cabinet. In 2016, for April 1st, Pandoras were introduced to the game as an April Fool's mechanic, but it remained in the game. Finally, in July of 2016, the game received its next update, showing the theme that you're currently seeing on screen now. In 2017, the game added a single burst for April Fool's Day, which is really just the sync first mechanic, but by yourself. For the final April Fools, there were little movies that were supposed to be attributed to the game. Obviously not real movies, but had really cool previews featuring lots of cats. All of these pictures that you're currently seeing coming up are real social media posts by the game, and they're randomly chosen every time you hit a note. Finally, for the climax of the song, we enter the credits for the game.
Think first. Devil first.
And finally,
And rocking combo.
a thanks to all players for enjoying the game. I can't help but get goosebumps every time I play that song. It evokes so many emotions and memories, and seeing the slideshow of Synchronica really just... it brings tears to my eye every single time I play it, to be short.
New record.
Now, I'm going to put the left side of the cabinet back into test mode because I'm not going to be playing extra songs on it. And finally, we'll see our final results screen with a special crown for completing the Pandora for Synchronica Resonate Remix with a full combo. And that's where we'll call time.
Thank you for playing.
I'm going to spin the camera back for a second just for a little closing remark. So that would wrap up a showcase for Synchronica, my favorite touchscreen music game. I'm overjoyed at the opportunity to even present this gameplay to you all, and I'm really excited for people to try this game in the free play arcade. Generally speaking, because a run of this would be done cooperatively, there's a credit that would be missing from the cooperative, or from the entire showcase. And some of the song choices would be slightly different to highlight different pieces that are easily demonstrated in cooperative mode rather than in single player mode. But this covers Synchronica's gameplay. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and if you ever have the chance to play Synchronica, I hope this demonstration gives you the motivation to try it at least once for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking your time to explore and soak in the aesthetic atmosphere of Synchronica with me. It means more to me than you could possibly imagine. And if you ever find this game, I hope you enjoy it.